Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the Python Beginners Tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 18, where we'll be learning about sets. So we will learn that what a set is, how it is different from a list or a dictionary or any other data types, how to write a set, and also we will learn about different kind of sets method, and also we will learn about set comprehensions throughout this particular class. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here again at the same project, let's create up a new Python file and let's name this one as sets.py and let's click on enter. So as you guys can see right over here on my screen, I do have this sets Python file. So we need to understand first that what is basically a set. So a set is basically a collection of well-defined objects in Python. So to write a set in your Python, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here and you are going to apply a name. Okay, so let's say I will just name this one as A, and now I will just put A is equal to, and now over here to signify this one, I need to make sure that I use the curly bracket. Okay, so now let's type 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2 again. Okay, so over here, as you guys can see, inside this particular set here, I do have different kind of values. And once we are typing sets, we need to understand or we need to remember one thing, that a set doesn't repeat a single thing again. So let me just give you guys a small example. Let's say you are the monitor of your class and you are collecting names of all of your mates inside a class, or let's say you want to see that how many types of name you do have inside a class. So out of 40 students, so many of them can have similar names. But your goal is that you want to check that how many unique names you do have inside the class. So here what you need to do is you need to actually delete, or you actually need to remove all the names which are repeating. So that's what set also basically does. As you guys can see over here, now I do have two twice in my set. Okay, so over here now if I just come down and let's say print open parenthesis and I will just type A. Okay, and over here now if I just run here in my console, you guys can see now I do have 8, 2, 4, and 6. So you guys might be thinking, well, the order over here was 2, 4, 6, and 8. So it should have been like that, right? But here we also need to understand that the set doesn't take the guarantee of putting your numbers in an orderly manner. Okay, so this is quite important, which we need to understand. And also, it doesn't only work with like numbers or integers, it works with different kind of data types as well. So inside a particular set, you guys can store different kind of data type. Let's say if I come over here and I will just name this one as values equal to, let's open the double quote right over here, and now let me type Karen, and let's come here, let's give it out a comma, let's type an integer, let's say 23, let's give a comma, let's type a float which is 2.5, let's give it a comma, let's give it a space, let's put on boolean values over here, and also over here I am going to put out another string, let's say hen. Okay, so as you guys can see over here, now let's click on enter. I want to print open parenthesis values. Okay, so I do want to print values right over here. So you guys can see that it contains two strings, one integer data type, one float data type, and one Boolean data type. So now once I run this particular code here, you guys can see it doesn't, it is not fixed in a orderly manner. Okay, so it is being placed in an unorderly manner, but here you do have all the different kinds of data types which you have stored inside this particular set. And also over here, let's say if I do have some similar string twice, okay, let it be a string. Let's come over here. And now let's click on Control V, and if I just run this one, here you guys can see as I do have Karen over here inside my set twice, but once I have run this particular file, it is just getting printed once. Okay, so over here it won't repeat the same item twice inside your set. Okay, so we need to understand about that. And now let's try to tell you, or let me tell you guys to create a set which is empty. So if you do want to create an empty set, most of you, what you'll do is, let me just type sets, and now what you guys will basically do is you guys will come here, and now you guys will just open parenthesis or open this curly bracket. Now you guys will type print, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna come here, and now you are going to print this particular sets. Okay, so now if you run this particular code here, you guys can see this is empty. But if you do want to come here, and if you do want to check that what kind of data type it is, let's open parenthesis right over here. Let's close this down. And now if I just run this one here, you guys can see under data type, it shows me that this is not a set, but this one is a dictionary. Okay, so here this is kind of confusing. So you guys will be shocked that, well, I was creating a set, but it is a dictionary right now. How come? So over here, if you want to signify a set or an empty set, we need to use the normal parenthesis, and we have to specify the set right over here. Okay, because in Python, we do signify a dictionary and a set both with curly brackets, as we do the tuples with the normal parenthesis. Once we are typing a list, we do provide the square bracket, and for dictionary and sets, we do use these curly brackets. So let's come here and let's type set, and now I will just come here, and instead of this curly bracket, I am going to open parenthesis. And now if I just run this particular code here, you guys can see under data type, it's showing me that this one is basically a set. Okay, so this is how you guys can work on right over here. Let's click on enter, and inside a set, you guys can also use the for loop. Okay, so let's come here, let's type for, and now let's specify a variable. Let's go with b, and if I just type in values, let's type values, and over here now I will just close this thing down. And now if I just click on enter here, now let's print b. Okay, so now if I just run this particular code here, you guys can see now you guys can use this loop, as here inside these values I do have all these values where I do have Karen 23, 2.5, true, hand, and Karen again. But here, as you guys can see, I do have these 5 items, and it is not in orderly manner, but it's not repeating the same item or the same object which I do have inside my set mentioned. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys to have understood till this much on how you will be able to work with sets. So now let's create up a new file, and over here now let's name this one as set methods dot py. Okay, so inside set methods there are a lot of things which you guys can use, and I will be explaining you guys in detail over here. So now first over here, let me just type or let me just make 2 sets. Okay, so let's come here, let's open up the curly bracket, and over here I'm gonna come here 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, so I'll just come here, I will just put out this value, Control C. Let's click on enter, Control V, and I'm gonna name this one as set 2. Okay, but inside set 2 I will have 1 2, but over here also I will have 7 8, and over here I will have 9 as well. Okay, so let's come here, and as you guys can see now, I do have these two particular sets. Okay, so now if I want to come here and if I want to print the union, let's say if I want to print whatever object I do have in both of these sets, then I can use a method called union. Okay, so over here now, to do that, I will just type print, and now I will just write set1 dot union. Okay, as you guys can see, I do have used union, and now over here I will just type set2. Okay, so before coming right over here, let me just show you guys in Chrome that what a set in or a union. Let's come here and let's type union in sets. Okay, so let's click on enter, and here you guys will understand better if I just show you guys this diagram. Okay, so over here if you take a look, okay, so let's come right over here, and here now you guys can see that here the A union B is the combination of A and B. Okay, so over here, as I do have 1 and 2, it will be printed once only. Okay, just the combination of all the words which I have inside. So inside print, you guys can just type set1 dot union set2, so you guys can just name anything to your set. Okay, instead of just naming as set1 and set2, you guys can name it something else as well. Okay, so now if I just run this particular code, here you guys can see it is showing me 1 2 3 4 5 7 8 9. Okay, so this is how it actually works. So I do have skipped 6, I guess, so I will just add 6 right over here. Let's type 6 comma, let's give it out a space, and if I run this code here, you guys can see I do have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so that is the use of the dot union. Okay, but now let me also tell you guys another one which we will learn after this is the intersection. Okay, so if you just take a look at this particular diagram, here you guys can see as the combination of, or the union is the combination of the values in A and B, whereas intersection is basically what is common between both the sets. Okay, so you guys can see that the common inside both of the sets is 4 and 5. So here this is known as the intersection right over here. So let me just come over here, and instead of union, let's come here and let's type intersection. Okay, so if I just come here and if I type intersection, here you guys can see now I only do have the values of 1 and 2. Okay, so this is known as intersection right over here. And now let's say I want to come over here and I want to update the value. Okay, update the value of the union. So what it will do is here, as you guys can see, the name of this one is set dot one union, and here you guys can update whatever you do have in set one. So over here the numbers which I don't have inside the set one, so what it will do is it will update all the numbers, and instead of combining, if I also don't use the union option, all of these things will be inside my set one using the union dot update option. So now let me show you guys with an example. After this print option, if I just click on enter, and over here now let's put set1 dot update, and I want to update it according to all the things which I do have inside my set2. Let's click on enter, and now I want to print it individually. Okay, so let me just put set1 comma set2. Okay, so now if I come here, if I print, you guys can see now it is printing the union at first, and after that you guys can see, as lastly I do have given the command of set1 and set2 individually. Set1 actually includes all the objects which I have under set2 as well. Okay, set2 contains each and everything which they already had, but set1 is being updated right over here. So let me just come over here on top. Let me just create up a new Python file, and I will just name this one as set methods 2.py, and let's click on enter. And now let's use different kind of strings. So now let's name this one as letter1 equal to, let's open this curly bracket, and now let's go A, let's go with B, and let's put C, comma, D, comma, E. Okay, so as I do have all of this, let's copy this one, Control C, Control V to paste it, and in letter 2 I am going to put CD, but over here I will just put J, K, and instead of D I am going to put Z. Okay, so over here now in the letter 3, if I just give the command like letter 1 dot union, let's open parenthesis, and let me just type letter 2, and over here if I just tell to print, or let's type print letter 3. Okay, so you guys can see now if I just run this particular code, it will just give me all of these values combining, which I do have right over here. Okay, and now the same way if I just use the intersection, okay, if I just run this particular code, it will only give me the values which are common inside. Okay, so now over here if I just come here, and let's say if I just use letter 1 dot union update, okay, union slash update. Okay, so if I just come here, and if I tell letter 1 dot union update, and over here I want to type only letter 1. Okay, so let's come here and let's type letter 1, and if I just run this code here, it shows me that I do have some problem over here. So now let me come here and let me just delete this whole thing, and over here let's type letter 1 dot union, or let's come here, let's go with intersection update. Okay, so if I come here, and now let me show you guys about this intersection update, and if I tell to print, or let me just go with letter 2. Okay, so over here now if I just print, you guys can see now I only have C and E inside this letter 2. Okay, so over here it won't show me any other objects rather than the one which are in common. Okay, so this is how the intersection update and also the union update work, which you have seen right over here. Okay. So now let's come over here and let's see some other examples. So now over here, let's check out the other ones. Let's name this one as letter 3 equals to, and over here now let's type letter 1 dot difference. Okay, so we will come here and here you guys can just use this symmetric difference. Okay, so I will come here and I will just take this symmetric difference, and if you do want to see what a symmetric difference is, so let's come over here and now let me show you guys, and let me just type symmetric difference in sets. So here this is basically, it will include all the numbers except the numbers which are common. So you guys can tell that it is just the A union B minus the A intersection B. Okay, so over here we need to understand about all of this. Here, as you guys can see, it will not include the common numbers, but everything except the common numbers or the objects it will contain inside the symmetric difference option. Okay, so let's come over here. As you guys can see, symmetric difference, and if I just type letter 2, you guys can see first what all is common over here. So C and E is common. So except C and E, it will print each and everything. So if I run this one, okay, so let's come here and let's print this letter 3. Okay, so letter 3. And if I just run this particular code here, you guys can see it contains all the word except C and E right over here. So that is about the symmetric difference. And now instead of symmetric difference, if you come here and if you just try to check out dot difference, and over here if you run, you guys can see now you do have the D, B and A. Okay, so over here what it basically sees that, well, what are the numbers that you do have in letter A which you don't have in the letter B. Okay, so over here as you guys can see, you already do have C, you already do have E. As I'm trying to find out the difference over here in the letter A, here the unique one is D or A, B and D inside the letter A set. Okay, so over here this is how it prints. If you do want to do just the vice versa, let's say letter 1, and if you do want to do letter 2, and if you run here, you guys can see it is J, Z and K. Okay, because in letter 1 you don't have that Z, K or J. Okay, so this is how the difference and the symmetric difference works in Python. So now we will also see about few of the inbuilt set methods. So now let's see about those. So if you just come over here and inside the letter 3, if you do want to check that, I will just put out the method of is disjoint. Okay, so what it will do is it will check that do I have things common inside letter 2 and letter 1 set. Okay, so over here you guys can see that this particular statement is basically false. Okay, because over here as you guys can see, I already do have E and also I do have C as well. Okay, so over here it shows me that letter 2 is disjoint to letter 1. Okay, but if I just do the vice versa right over here, let's come here and again it will show me the same answer. So instead of is disjoint, if I type is superset. Okay, so if I come here and if I just play this particular code, here also it will show me false. Okay, so if you do want to see its definition, okay, let's come here and let's type is disjoint. And here you guys can see is disjoint method checks whether two sets have any common elements. If no common element exists, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. Okay. So over here now, let's check is superset. Okay. So over here is superset. It used to determine the original set contains all elements of the specified sets. Like if it contains all the original sets, okay, it returns true if every element of the specified set is also an element of the original set. Otherwise, it will just return false. And here it is just basically the opposite, the subset in sets. So over here, you guys can see if the supplied set is present in other set, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Okay, so these are the few of the built-in methods, and now we will also see about different methods. Let's come here and to letter one, let's type letter one dot add. Okay, so if you do want to add anything, so let's type add. And over here, if I do want to add in, okay, so now let's click on print. Let's open out the parenthesis and let's type letter one. So you guys will be able to see that with these 5 elements, I will be able to add this n as well. So the order won't be maintained, but here you guys can see the n is also being printed. Okay. And the same way, if you do want to come right over here, and if you just type dot clear. Okay, so if you do want to clear anything, you guys can come here and you guys can just clear uh, things from here. Like if you do want to totally clear, so if I just run this code here, you guys can see I don't have anything inside. So the same way, if you do want to come here, if I just put remove, okay, and let's come here and let's put a, and if I just run this one, here you guys can see it has removed a from this particular set. Okay, so if you want to duplicate, okay, you guys can also come here and you guys can basically do that. And here you guys can see that all of these options you do have right over here. Okay, so these are different methods which we have learned throughout this particular class, and I hope you guys do have understood about methods here. Okay, so now we will also see about comprehensions. Let's come here and now let's name this one at set comprehensions dot py, and let's click on enter, and let's take this one letter dot add. Let's come here, let's type k, and let's come to this particular method. So now first see what a set comprehension is. Okay, so let's come right over here, and from here let's search set comprehension Python. So over here now, if I just go for images right over here, you guys can see that you do have a lot of these options. So in a simple example on the previous slide, so this is not a definition. Let's go for definition and let's click on enter. Let's click on all. So set comprehension may be a concise and capable way to make a new set based on existing irritable objects such as list and all. Like you will be able to type a set in only one line. So let me just show you guys a small example with this. So let's come here into my PyCharm account, and from here let me just name this one as set1, and you need to open up a curly bracket, and over here now let's put out a variable, let's say a square. Okay, so for that I will just use the asterisk square 3 for a in range. So I will just select the range. Let's open parenthesis. Let's say 1 comma 10. Okay. So over here, I am telling that I want the square of 3 and the number from 1 to 10. Okay. So over here now, let's come down and over here, let's open parenthesis and now let's put set 1. Okay. So as you guys can see, and if I just run this particular code here, you guys can see it shows 1. Okay. And after that, it shows 8, 343. This is not in the order, but here you guys can see it is just giving me the answer accordingly. Okay. So you guys can use the set comprehensions quite like that. You do have mentioned a lot of things like over here, you do have mentioned the variable. You do have told that you do want to square with this particular number. And also you do have told that here you do want a for loop inside the range of 1 to 10 with this particular number. Okay, so this is the use of set comprehensions, and I hope this class was clear on set, different kind of set methods, and also I do have told that what a set comprehension is. Okay, but set comprehensions, you guys mostly won't be using that much. You guys will need the set methods and also the basic of sets while working in big projects mostly. So take care everyone, and keep on learning Python and keep on practicing your programming skill.